My mentor, Mr. Jim Rohn, once gave a talk. It was called The 4 Ifs That Make Life Worthwhile. And he shared it at the live seminar that I attended over 30 years ago. And so in this video, I want to share with you the 4 ifs that make life worthwhile. G'day and welcome. My name is Willem, and on this channel, I share the wisdom and the philosophies that Mr. Rohn shared with me many years ago. By consistently applying and executing on what he taught me, more importantly, taking action on what he taught me, I've been able to lead a life on my terms. And I know that if you do the same, if you take the wisdom and the philosophies that Mr. Rohn shared with me and apply them in your own life, you too will be able to lead a life on your terms. The first if that makes life worthwhile is if you learn. Recently, 5 men died trying to explore the Titanic. Now, it's no good saying they didn't know. They had no idea that that could happen to them. You have to know. You've got to do your due diligence. You've got to find the information. Contrary to a very popular saying, ignorance is not bliss. You just have to know. Mr. Rohn was quite adamant. He said, get the knowledge while you can. While you're in school, while you're in college or university, get the knowledge that will take you to the next level. If you don't get the knowledge, you're going to be stupid. And there's nothing much worse than being stupid. Unless, of course, you're broke and stupid. That's a pretty poor scenario. It doesn't get much worse than that. Unless, of course, you're sick. If you're sick, broke, and stupid, that's about as low as you can go. Unless, of course, you're ugly. Ugly, broke, sick, and stupid, that's about as bad as it gets. But heed the message. The first if that makes life worthwhile is if you learn. The second if that makes life worthwhile is if we try. Let's say we get a broomstick and we put it on a couple of bricks and we say to a group of kids, a couple of 2 or 3 year olds, who can jump over the stick. Now, some will say, I can, some will say, I can't, and some will say, I don't know. So how do we find out for everybody? There's only one way, and that's to run at it and give it a go. Now, if you knock the stick over, does that mean you can't do it? No. Somebody shows you a little different approach, maybe a different angle of approach to the pole so you can jump over it. But the key here is you must give it a try. If you don't give it a try, you will never ever know. I know lots of people who would like to have better relationships, who would like to get into business at some stage, but they're sitting on the fence, too afraid to try. You've just got to try. If you don't try, life is not worthwhile. So there's the second if that makes life worthwhile, if you try. The third if that makes life worthwhile is if you stay. Stay the distance. If you're going to try getting into business or an entrepreneurial activity, give it a while. Don't fall over at the first obstacle. One of my very favorite quotes of all time was first taught to me by a gentleman called Bob Ansett, who started Budget Rent-A-Car here in Australia. And one of his favorite quotes was by Calvin Coolidge, the US president. And I'm sure if you have been around at all, you will have heard of it. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. That is just such a great phrase. I've quoted that so many times. Only last Sunday, I was watching my Australian rules football team, the Melbourne Demons, at the MCG, and 7 minutes to go, we were still 20 odd points behind. People were starting to leave thinking that the game was over. But they persisted. In the end, we won by 1 solitary point. It just shows you, if you never give up, if you stay the course, if you are persistent, you can do the most remarkable things. So there's the third if that makes life worthwhile, if you stay. Now, before I share the fourth if with you, could I ask you to like this video and consider subscribing? I share something that Mr. Rohn shared with me every week. And if you press the subscribe button, you'll be alerted each weekend when a new video comes out. The fourth if that makes life worthwhile is if you care. Mr. Rohn said, if you care a little, you can achieve a little bit. If you care a lot, you can do the most remarkable things. And can I say from own experience, when I care a lot about my clients, if I look after my clients like they're the most important people on earth, the most remarkable things happen. Only a couple of weeks ago, one of our clients gave us a recommendation, a referral to another person, and that person has now signed up for close to $120,000 contract a year. So if you care, some good will come of it. But if you care a lot, the most extraordinary things will happen. So there's the fourth if that makes life worthwhile, if you care. Now, I always like to provide a bonus tip at the end of every video. And because I still believe in that first if you learn, I am still constantly learning. I should be talking about retirement. That's going to be the furthest thing from my mind. I recently read this book. It's called Profit First for Tradies. Now, it's written by an Australian lady, so it's more applicable to Australian businesses, especially trades businesses. However, it's based on the book Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. And can I say, if you are in business or thinking of going into business, if you're in Australia, I would highly recommend that book. But if you're in the US or in Europe, I would highly recommend Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. It's an absolute must read if you want to go into business. It covers why a lot of businesses don't work and what you can do about it so that your business actually becomes a cash cow and not a liability. So there's your bonus tip for this week. Now, if you enjoyed this video, I know you will enjoy some of the other videos I've done up till now. I think this is now video number 50. And so we're getting quite a list. If you'd like to have a look at some of the other videos, there's a playlist just up there. You can have a look at that. So there are the four ifs that make life worthwhile that I first heard from Mr. Rohn. If you learn, if you try, if you stay, and if you care. I know that if you apply them in your own life, the most remarkable things will start happening, and you will thank me later.